Welcome to another edition of In Your Neighborhood. Hey everyone, my name is Mike Rennick. I'm the senior broker, the team lead of Team Rennick Real Estate Services, part of that great Keller Williams on the water, and this is a continuation of my promise to share Longboat Key from the aspect of the folks that live here, play here, and work here. And my guest for this series is Mr. Stephen Reed. He is the, welcome Steve.
Hey,
he is the owner and publisher of the Longboat Key News. We're a little more casual today. It's a warm afternoon. What day of the week is it? It's Tuesday, right?
I think it's called summer.
Yeah, we're filming this on a Tuesday.
One long Floridian hot day.
But anyway, let me start off by asking the question I ask every week. Where are we at today?
Well, we are, ironically, it doesn't look like it now, but we are at what was once the hub of Longboat Key, the Colony Beach and Tennis Resort. This, believe it or not, that expanse of 17.3 acres that looks a lot different than a year ago, doesn't it?
It does.
We were here. Oh my God, it was like the ghost town, like
We actually, you and I, filmed the last walkthrough of the hotel, the condos, the monkey bar, all the above. So we have that on film. But all right, so we were here not too long ago and everything was cleared. I don't see a whole lot of stuff going on. So what's happening?
So picture this. In the mid-60s, and then expanded in the 70s by Murph Clauber, whose family owned and ran this for 40 years, 40 plus years. This was packed, and right now would have been the prime. We're in the beginning of June. This would have been summer staycation season, and they would have been looking forward to the Europeans. As we had in the summer in Longboat in our area, this is when we get the waves of families who get the kids out of school, and also waves of Europeans who take their summer holiday often will come at this time. So they would run specials, and you'd hear German and French, and a very exciting time. So now, over the last year, while the two sides have been battling in court for ownership over this, the Chuck Whittall and Unicorp, who does own the majority of the rights and right now has most of the unit owners on his side. He has a development order approved a year ago to build a St. Regis resort here. He's in the final stages of basically trying to use the courts to get a big chunk of units owned by Andy Adams, who owns about 75 units. And Andy and Chuck have never come to terms. Andy unwilling to sell. And so they're going to use a court process to compel.
He owns. The units obviously are gone.
Correct.
So does he still technically own? Is he able to apply a lien to this property because of that? Is that what it is?
No, the lien wouldn't be like that. The way, it gets very technical and convoluted, but when Clauber developed this property, he did the first in Florida with the SEC condominiumized the ownership. So he set this thing up where you or anyone else could buy a unit here, maybe paid anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 for a unit at the Colony.
Those were the good old days.
The good old days. You got the right to be here 30 days out of the year. Murph Clauber got the right to rent it 11 months. All of the money for the rentals was supposed to go into the operation.
And the owner actually got a deed. He could get a mortgage on that property to buy the condo.
You got a deed, mortgage, and so on and so forth. But what you didn't have, like most condos, is you didn't have the right, you weren't running the property, and you also couldn't do external renovations. So the property became dilapidated, place fell apart, but Andy Adams, after it all fell apart, and there was bankruptcy, there was infighting, they couldn't agree on the assessments to fix the place, Andy Adams went in and bought a lot of units on the cheap. You know, so some as low as 20, 30, 40,000. And he amassed 75, I believe, units, 74, 75. And that's a big enough percentage that if you don't agree to any vote by the board or by the majority of the owners, you can block anything.
Right.
So in condo law, he's in a blocking position.
So let me ask this though, without getting too technical.
Sure.
The association still exists, but there is no condominiums anymore.
How
long is that?
All right. Without getting too technical, that's exactly what they're in court doing. Two things. The two-stage process is we have to terminate the association.
Okay.
Now, once you terminate the association, then all that ownership of units, these units, all those assets, almost like a bankruptcy, have to become monetized and distributed.
Okay.
And it has to be done under courts, under law, in an equitable way. So now we get into arguments of, they both agree, let's terminate and be done.
Okay.
But what's equitable is the
value?
big, not just what's the value, but how do you determine value?
Well, so you look what's here. We have a vacant land.
Yep.
But I would suppose one of the arguments is it's not the value of the land. It may be the value of future use.
It's the value, like anything, you're in real estate, of the land.
I am, thank you.
Thank you, I'm just throwing that a little.
This is why we bring Steve in for these.
Is the land and development rights. That's always what you have. The outer limit of what you can build on a property plus the land, and that land value determines the value.
So what's the next step? What happens now?
Here's what's happening. They're duking it out in court.
Okay.
And either the judge will agree with Whitall and Unicorp and the association, the majority of those unit owners, that, hey, we have a deal. 90% of the owners have agreed to it. You have this one holdout. We've established value. They've all agreed on an amount. Chuck will say, I have development rights.
Okay.
We know sort of the value. He should get this amount. That's what everyone got. And that's the way to clear this all up.
Okay.
The other side's going to say, no. The only way to do it is like bankruptcy. When you can't agree, just sell it all. It all goes to an auction and let everyone bid it up as they can. That would sound simple, but when Murph did all this, Chuck Whitall owns 2.3 acres of this property, like donut holes, outright. He owns the old commercial interest.
Okay.
So it's not so simple as just selling it. You're back to, how do you do that?
So given all of that, is this going to come to a head this summer?
No, not this summer.
Okay.
Don't get too quick. We're on colony time.
Okay.
Colony times
been
means
years.
in next year, if this time next year, this is cleared up, that's a home run.
So we're still a long ways away.
Yes and no. Here's what you're going to see on the street. You're going to see the grass continue to grow.
Yep.
You're going to see, though, Chuck Whitall and Unicorp, because they have a development proposal, they were allowed by the town. They will be allowed, and you will see in the fall, November, December, a sales office go up.
Okay.
And you're going to see a nice, we're talking a multi-million-dollar type of sales office, because they're going to want to show the finishes of the future units. It'll be out on the water, and that in the westernmost, northernmost corner of the property with the elevation. So when you look out, it looks beautiful, and it looks like a unit will look. That'll be in place. They'll be busy selling. His hope is to wrap up this ownership issue early next year in the spring. Can't be rushed because of due process. If the judge favors, well, then there's always an appeal. So this judge wants to do everything he can to make every side feel they were heard, hear everybody's argument, and then
to make a long story short, there's still a lot of work to do. And there's a lot more time. So we promise to keep you up to date with what's happening. The colony has always been an integral part of Longboat Key, and this parcel of land will definitely be an integral part going forward. Steve, I want to thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks,
I appreciate that, coming out on a beautiful sunny afternoon. Stay tuned for the next episode of In Your Neighborhood. Thanks for watching.